Is the magic of instant photography really making a comeback? Or are we just blinded by pure nostalgia? Let's find out if shaking it like a Polaroid picture is actually worth your money today. I've spent the last few weeks testing the top contenders on the market, burning through stacks of expensive film and cheap thermal paper to see exactly what these cameras can do in the real world. We're going to count down from number 7 all the way to my absolute favorite number 1 pick, and you might be completely shocked by which camera took the crown. 7. Fujifilm Instax Mini Evo. The Fujifilm immediately caught my eye with its stunning retro design that practically screams vintage cool. When I first unboxed this one, I was genuinely impressed by the classic silver and black aesthetic that mimics the old-school analog rangefinders of the past. It feels substantial in the hand, and turning it on feels like you are stepping back in time, even though it is packed to the brim with modern digital technology. The defining feature of the Mini Evo is its hybrid nature, offering 100 different creative combinations by mixing 10 lens effects with 10 film effects. I spent hours twisting the tactile lens dial to swap between light weeks, vignettes, and double exposures, and cranking the satisfying film advance lever to actually print the photo. It also acts as a smartphone printer, meaning you can send photos from your phone directly to the camera to be printed on Instax mini film. However, my excitement started to wane a bit the more I actually used it as a dedicated everyday camera out in the real world. Because it is essentially a low-resolution digital camera with a built-in printer, you lose that pure, unpredictable magic of true analog instant photography. Knowing I could just retake a bad digital shot and only print the perfect ones made the process feel weirdly sterile, robbing the experience of that one-shot thrill I crave from instant film. I also found myself incredibly frustrated with the digital screen on the back, which is surprisingly low quality and washed out, making it really difficult to judge exposure before printing. Then there is the sensor itself, which struggles heavily in low-light situations, resulting in digital noise that translates poorly when it finally prints onto the physical film. 6. Aasonida Kids Camera Instant Print. Right out of the box, it is aggressively colorful and unapologetically designed for children, featuring a chunky, drop-resistant silicone body that practically bounces if it hits the floor. It is incredibly lightweight, making it perfectly sized for tiny hands that might struggle with a traditional, bulkier instant camera. Unlike traditional instant cameras that use expensive chemical film, this Aasonida model utilizes zero-ink thermal printing technology, much like a store receipt printer. It comes packed with features meant to distract and entertain, including built-in puzzle games, MP3 playback, and a dual-lens setup that allows kids to easily switch to a selfie mode. It records 1080p video as well, storing everything on an included microSD card, so the digital files are saved even after the paper prints out. The actual shooting experience is chaotic, which is exactly what a kid wants. But as someone evaluating the tech, the interface is quite clunky and unintuitive. The buttons are stiff, and navigating through the digital menus to switch between printing mode, video mode, and the built-in games requires a steep learning curve that younger kids will need help with. I spent entirely too much time just trying to figure out how to turn off the obnoxious system sounds that beep loudly with every single button press. Now, when it comes to the prints themselves, you have to dramatically lower your expectations, because the image quality is undeniably terrible. It prints in low contrast black and white on flimsy thermal paper, and any movement during the shot results in a blurry, unrecognizable smudge of dots. While the thermal paper is wonderfully cheap, replacing the magic of vibrant developing film with a grainy black and white receipt feels like a massive downgrade in the instant photography experience. 5. Fujifilm Instax Wide 400. The moment I picked this up, I was thrilled by the updated sage green aesthetic that feels wonderfully modern while still housing that massive, glorious wide film format. It is undeniably a chunky camera, taking up significant space in my bag, but the build quality is solid and the ergonomics make it surprisingly comfortable to grip. The star of the show here is, of course, the Instax wide film, which is exactly twice the size of standard Instax mini film, offering a wonderfully cinematic aspect ratio. Fujifilm finally added a self-timer to this model, an absolutely crucial feature that is operated by a satisfying mechanical-style lever on the front of the camera. It also comes with a clever little camera angle adjustment accessory that attaches to the strap, allowing you to easily prop the camera up on a table for group shots without needing a tripod. Shooting with the wide 400 is an absolute breeze, as it leans heavily into a fully automated point-and-shoot philosophy that takes the guesswork out of the equation. You simply twist the lens ring to turn it on, choose between the normal or landscape focus zones, and let the camera handle the exposure and flash completely on its own. I found this simplicity incredibly freeing at parties and outdoor gatherings, where I didn't want to fiddle with settings and just wanted to capture the moment quickly. The image quality from the wide 400 is consistently beautiful, delivering those classic, vibrant Instax colors with a soft, dreamy contrast that makes everyone look fantastic. Having that extra real estate on the film makes a world of difference for sweeping landscapes and large group photos where a mini format would just feel far too cramped. 4. LETSHAHA H3. Unlike the previous thermal camera on this list, the H3 has a sleek, streamlined design that actually resembles a modern digital camera rather than an oversized plastic toy. It feels surprisingly robust, and I didn't worry for a second when I accidentally dropped it off a table onto the hardwood floor during my testing process. This camera keeps things remarkably focused on the core experience of taking and printing photos, without bogging the system down with unnecessary video games. It features a genuinely impressive battery that lasted through days of heavy use, and the included 32GB SD card means you never have to worry about running out of digital storage. The Zero Ink technology works flawlessly here, smoothly dispensing prints from the front of the camera just seconds after you hit the shutter button. What really won me over with the LETSHAHA H3 was how incredibly intuitive and snappy the user interface is, even for a device aimed at the younger demographic. The buttons are responsive. Navigating the menus to add fun digital borders and stickers before printing is completely lag-free, and it never left me frustrated. I had a blast handing this to my young nephew and watching him figure out how to use it instantly without me having to explain a single button. While it still uses black and white thermal paper, the print quality on the H3 is noticeably sharper and more defined than its competitors in this specific category. The contrast is surprisingly decent, allowing you to actually make out facial features and fine details, and you can tweak the print density in the settings for better results. Plus, the sheer joy of watching a child instantly color in their printed photos with the included markers adds a whole new layer of interactive fun to the experience. 3. Fujifilm Instax Mini 99. This camera is a massive leap forward in the analog Instax lineup, featuring a beautiful matte black finish and tactile metal dials that give it a deeply premium professional feel. Simply holding this camera feels like an event, and it completely elevates the aesthetic of what an instant camera can look and feel like in the hands of a creative. The feature set on the Mini 99 is staggering, putting full creative control back into the hands of the photographer with pure optical analog effects. It features a brilliant color effect dial that uses physical LED lights inside the camera to cast beautiful color washes over your film as it exposes, entirely without digital manipulation. Add to that a physical vignette switch that drops internal blades over the lens, a brightness control dial, and multiple shooting modes like double exposure and bulb mode. Shooting with the Mini 99 feels like a deeply engaging artistic process, encouraging you to slow down, compose your shot carefully, and experiment with different lighting combinations. I spent a whole afternoon walking around the city just playing with the warm tone and light leak effects, turning ordinary street scenes into moody, cinematic masterpieces. The camera forces you to think about photography in a very intentional way, making the moment you finally hear that film eject incredibly rewarding. The photos produced by the Mini 99 are easily some of the most stunning, vibrant, and artistically unique prints I have ever gotten out of an Instax camera. Because the color effects are optical rather than digital filters, the prints retain that authentic, slightly imperfect analog charm while looking incredibly rich and dynamic. 2. ESOXOFFORE ABS 681. When I first got my hands on this brightly colored, whimsically designed camera, I assumed it was just another generic toy, but I was proven completely wrong. It is encased in a wonderfully soft, environmentally friendly ABS plastic that is not only safe for toddlers, but effectively shockproof against the most aggressive drops and tumbles. This camera takes the thermal printing concept and perfects it for the absolute youngest demographic, offering massive, easy-to-press buttons and a surprisingly clear 2.4-inch IPS screen. It includes a massive battery that seems to last forever, making it the ultimate travel companion for long flights or car rides where charging isn't an option. It comes fully loaded with a 32GB SD card, a lanyard, and rolls of BPA-free thermal paper, meaning you have literally everything you need to start shooting immediately right out of the box. The user experience is wonderfully stripped down and tailored perfectly to children who just want to point, click, and see a picture pop out instantly. There is virtually no shutter lag, meaning when a child presses the button, the photo is captured immediately, saving you from the endless blurry shots common with other kid cameras. I tested this by handing it to a 3-year-old, and within seconds they were running around the house, happily snapping and printing photos of the dog, without any assistance. While the output is still the standard thermal black and white print, the ESOXOFFORE seems to process the images with surprisingly good contrast and clarity. The camera heavily utilizes fun digital frames and cartoon filters that the kids absolutely adore, adding immense replay value to every single shot they take. The fact that the paper rolls cost mere pennies to replace completely removes the stress of wasted film, allowing kids to explore their creativity entirely uninhibited. 1. Fujifilm Instax Mini 12. From the moment I unpacked its playful, bubble-like body, I knew this camera was designed purely to make taking photos as fun and effortless as humanly possible. It comes in a range of gorgeous pastel colors, feels incredibly lightweight yet durable, and features an ergonomic grip that makes it an absolute joy to hold and shoot single-handedly. The absolute genius of the Mini 12 lies in its refined simplicity, highlighted by the brilliant twist lens mechanism that controls both the power and the focus modes. Twisting it once turns the camera on, and a second twist clicks it smoothly into close-up mode, which is perfectly calibrated for selfies and macro shots. Fujifilm also completely overhauled the viewfinder in this model, introducing parallax correction so that what you see through the glass is exactly what prints out on the film, eliminating a massive headache from older models. Shooting with the Mini 12 is the purest distillation of the instant camera experience. There are no settings to fiddle with, no menus to navigate, just absolute spontaneous joy. The automatic exposure system is incredibly smart, accurately reading ambient light and perfectly syncing the flash to ensure neither your subject nor your background is blown out or underexposed. I took this camera everywhere, to dark bars, sunny parks, and dimly lit living rooms, and it consistently fired off perfect, well-balanced shots without me having to think twice. The photos you get from the Mini 12 are exactly what you want when you think of instant film. Bright, saturated, contrasty, and undeniably nostalgic. The skin tones always look remarkably flattering, and the reliable auto exposure means you rarely ever waste a precious sheet of film on a dark, unusable shot.